Of Red Raiders walked the stage this weekend, earning their degrees after years of hard work. Those steps were especially momentous for one graduate who doctors told would never walk or talk again.
KCBD News Channel 11's Brittany Michelson joins us in the studio with Blake's story. Brittany.
Well, Karen and Abner, Blake Hyland's story is one that's already inspired thousands through a documentary called Hi, I'm Blake. He's a 23-year-old from China Spring outside of Waco, hoping to share some hope and a smile. He grew up an athlete devoted to gymnastics. When he was 14, he was practicing a new trick, flipping and twisting into a foam pit. He ended up hitting his head on an exposed piece of concrete on the way down. He suffered a traumatic brain injury and spent the next several years relearning how to walk and talk. With support from family and friends, he took classes from Texas Tech at McLennan Community College in Waco and made it to this moment.
My friend says that I'm the happiest person that he knows, and I gotta agree with that. I am the happiest person I know. My bad days aren't really that bad, but I just want them to see hope and to be inspired by me.
Blake graduated with honors with a degree in communications and a minor in human development and family studies. Tonight at 10, we'll hear more about how he wants to use that degree to help others and what President Lawrence Skuvenek had to say about the inspiring Red Raider. Abner?
All right. Thank you, Brittany.